Welcome back to Heartbook Radio, where we dig into the stories that make your heart race, sometimes from romance, sometimes from sheer terror at the plot twists. Today we're saddling up for a book that promises treasure, trouble, and a surprisingly swoon-worthy doctor.
Swoon-worthy is one word for it. I'd also accept aggressively East Coast and probably allergic to horses, but hey, opposites attract, right? Especially when one of those opposites is a sassy, compassionate, bowl-dropping orphan caregiver named Ellie.
You're already jumping ahead. Let's set the scene. We're in the Wild West, California, at Two Hearts Ranch, which, by the way, sounds less like a ranch and more like a dating app for cowboys.
It's an orphanage and a school. Get your mind out of the gutter. Or at least out of the barn.
My mind is a pristine, well-organized library. Thank you very much. Anyway, Two Hearts Ranch is run by the Hearts, and it's a haven for, as one reviewer put it, lovable handfuls of orphan children. And then Dr. Brodie Mackenzie shows up, looking for his two mischievous, and I quote, brothers.
Mischievous is putting it mildly. These kids, Locke and Thane, are basically miniature Indiana Joneses, obsessed with their grandfather's journal and the treasure it supposedly leads to. They're the reason Brodie, fresh out of medical school and probably used to, indoor plumbing, ends up in this dusty corner of California.
One reviewer said, and I quote, I need my air conditioning. I feel that. I bet Brodie feels that too. He's a fish out of water, this New York-Boston guy. Imagine him trying to diagnose a cow. Yes, the bovine seems. Despondent. Perhaps a course of chamomile tea and a good therapist.
He probably thinks a stethoscope is a fancy new type of hat. But to be fair, Brodie's got a good heart under that starched collar. He's just overwhelmed. He's got runaway brothers, a treasure map, and a whole ranch full of orphans to contend with. And then there's Ellie.
Ellie, the meet-cute is. Well, let's just say it involves a dropped bowl, a fist banging on a door, and Ellie's big, gruff brother nearly punching Brodie, thinking he's attacking her. Romance.
It's the Wild West equivalent of bumping into someone and spilling your coffee, only instead of coffee, it's shattered pottery and the threat of physical violence.
So romantic. But hey, it works. Apparently, without a hint of attraction, Brodie suddenly kisses Ellie. Because that's how it works in the 1800s, right? Consent. Never heard of her.
Okay, let's not get too modern on them. It's a historical romance. A clean historical romance, mind you. This is not some of the authors we've reviewed on other shows.
The ones we can't mention on air.
Exactly. This is wholesome, heartwarming, and full of a signature wit. One reviewer said, nobody writes witty frontier romances like this author. And they're right. The banter is sharp, the situations are hilarious, and the characters are, they're a lot.
5 different character narratives, to be exact, which, according to some reviewers, made things a little disjointed.
It's like trying to herd cats, only the cats are also carrying treasure maps and falling in love. But even with the multiple perspectives, the story moves. It's a fast-paced adventure, a treasure hunt full of twists and turns.
And peril. Don't forget the peril. Just enough to make it tense, but tempered with, as one reviewer so eloquently put it, a bit of humour. Because nothing says romance like almost dying while searching for gold.
And the romance is sweet. Brodie calls Ellie his treasure, but also, dude, there's actual treasure to be found. Priorities?
Maybe he's just really into metaphors. Or maybe he's realized that the real treasure was the friends and the sassy orphan caregiver he made along the way.
You're getting sentimental on me.
It's the clean romance. It's seeping into my cynical soul. But speaking of cynical, some readers were a little disappointed by the ending.
Yes, the cliffhanger. The abrupt ending with so many loose ends not addressed. It's clearly setting up the next book, which is great for the author's bank account, but maybe not so great for readers who like closure.
It's like getting to the end of a treasure map and finding another treasure map.
but a treasure map that promises more adventure, more romance, and more of those lovable handful Mackenzie brothers. One reviewer said they liked the brothers best, maybe because I have teenage boys of my own.
Relatable not so, the verdict. The book is a fun, fast-paced read, perfect for fans of clean historical romance, Western adventures, and witty banter. Just be prepared for a bit of a character overload, a sudden romance, and an ending that will leave you wanting more.
And if you're new to this author, maybe start with one of her earlier series. Some reviewers felt a little lost, like they'd walked into the middle of a family reunion without knowing anyone.
But even if you're a newbie, there's plenty to enjoy. The setting is vivid, the characters are engaging even if Brody is a bit of a stiff at first, and the treasure hunt is genuinely exciting. One reviewer said the pacing was so fun, the characters were so fun, the treasure hunt was so fun. Just so fun.
They really liked the treasure hunt.
Who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? Especially when it's mixed with romance, humour, and a healthy dose of Wild West chaos. So, grab your cowboy hat, your stethoscope if you're feeling fancy, and your copy of the book. Just don't drop your bowl.
That's all the time we have for today, folks. Join us next time on Heart Book Radio, where we'll be discussing, well, we haven't decided yet, maybe something with fewer orphans and more vampires.
You and your vampires.